Well, happy Monday, everyone. It's Versus on a Monday. Tons of news. The number one movie in America in only 1,700 screens is K-pop Demon Hunters. That's right. K-pop Demon Hunters is number one at the box office. Netflix has the number one movie in theaters and on streaming at the same time. And it's a phenomenon. Here, I adjust the volume here. So let's talk about it. Plus, tons of news. Snoop Dogg seems very based. I don't know. It happens. So let's bring everyone on. Let's have a fun show today. Let's go. Hey, we've got a smaller crew this week. A couple people will join last minute. Trust me, it happens. But happy Monday to all of you. What's going on? Intro yourself. Plug your channel. Let's go.
Steph, my nerdy home. I absolutely love K-pop Demon Hunters. So let's talk about it.
Yeah. Badger, I also absolutely love K-pop Demon Hunters. It seems it's a common trend with everyone that watched it. So yeah, let's taco about it.
I like K-pop Demon Hunter, and in honor, I'm gonna drink some Diet Pop.
Did you buy it at a Korean store?
Is that a reference to the Soda Pop song?
Yeah, it's the best song of the year.
Soda Pop.
Hey, you're kind of glitchy, Alan, a little bit. You're like
I'm
you
on
look
the
like you're
satellite.
in 480.
Okay, I'm gonna.
Do you have a number you can call Elon?
I'm back. I'm going. I'm back on. I turned off the satellite.
Turn on the satellite. You're paying for it.
I know.
Let's go. Let's go. Before we start the show, let's see who's here. Here we go.
Oh, press him to start for 2. It's Monday, my dudes. K-pop Demon Hunter took the cake. Yeah, it took the win. Absolutely.
Yeah, and also quick reminder before we get to our topics. And thank you, Press M to start. Appreciate you. Our shop.filmthreat.com has our back to school collection. This will be gone in a week as we get to NFL season. Then we'll introduce our sports collection. I don't know what we're going to do for that. I have some ideas. Some of the greatest sports movies ever getting into their
Happy
logos.
Gilmore.
That's right. So this is our back to school collection. If you're clueless or you like American Pie, these shirts are inspired by the logos for those movies. So get them while they last. Let me put up the banner for that. Let me put up the banner for shop.filmthreat.com. Support us. There we go.
Oh, I'm in the wrong folder.
Yeah. It was a hot weekend.
Yeah.
It was a hot weekend here in Los Angeles, nearly 100 degrees. I'm sure it was hot in Florida.
Texas, yeah. It's actually been a cool summer. Now, when I say cool summer, like, between 95 and 102 with wind. So that's a pretty cool summer.
That's cool for Texas.
For over the summer, yeah, absolutely.
That's
with
God,
wind,
frozen
and it's not
country.
like stifling hot, like nice and cloudy, but still kind of hot. That's a cool summer. They're actually thinking that it might be a very cold, like really, really cold winter because of how cool the summer was.
Yeah.
How cold?
We haven't even hit 100 yet in my area.
Yeah.
All right, we're talking weather on this show. We've done something wrong, but it did affect me this weekend. The weather. I saw the John Williams Maestro of the movies at the Hollywood Bowl. I shot a bunch of videos. Those are for members only. Check those out. I'd play some of them. They all got copyright struck, but they're for members only. We don't monetize our members videos. So check those out. Alan, check it out. And you'll see all the members videos I've been posting for members. I care about our members.
Yeah, well, I think I'm going to do a member stream Saturday.
Really?
Yeah, I want to test out the satellite dish. So I'm going to take it from Laguna Beach down to Oceanside and see how the reception is.
You'll
We're
do
gonna
it Saturday.
we're gonna drive by the nuclear boobies.
Okay, so you'll do a boring ass live stream while you're on the road, while I'm also live streaming from Dragon Con.
Yes.
Well,
But he has nuclear boobies. He's gonna.
I have nuclear boobies. What do you have?
I would say do it another day. There's going to be a lot other stuff in Atlanta, but let's get to the box office. Let's get to the box office here. Alan, if you put up the numbers, as we said at the beginning of the show, K-pop Demon Hunters, number one, folks.
Oh, that
kind
green.
of insane. Kind of insane. This is a movie that, and by the way, there's an article on David Poland's Substack. He talks about the storied history of Netflix at the box office. By the way, it was on 1,700 screens. There was not at AMC. AMC refused to play it because they won't play movies that are also on streaming. Okay.
That was stupid.
So AMC did not show it. So Regal was like, F that. They added screenings. They were sold out. I know from my area.
Yeah, even my area, they were packed.
Packed.
All of the screenings.
I did see it at the Netflix headquarters, had a screening.
Did you sing?
And I have to say, it was super fun. You'd think it'd be annoying with a bunch of people like with their phones out and sing. It was actually really fun.
It looked fun. Yeah. I saw a lot of TikToks with people going to the sing-along and they were having a blast at these sing-alongs. It's very interesting. These were only Saturday and Sunday showings. It's not like they had, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday. This is only Saturday and Sunday, 1,700 theaters. And I think a little over 1,100 of them were sold out.
Now, my understanding is, hey, Rob, thanks for joining us. Appreciate you.
Sorry I'm late. We had a little power issue over the weekend. It was just solved.
Oh, well, there you go. Just, if you're like Superman, just get a magnifier, sit in front of the sun, bathe in it.
Yeah.
Power's restored.
No, some woman, this is the second time this happened in a year, smashed into the local hub where all of our power and internet cables come from because it's above ground here.
Oh, my
and she
God.
took it out for the weekend.
Same woman or second time?
I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing that happened, which is crazy.
How do you survive that? That's crazy. So we're talking about K-pop Demon Hunters, 18 million at the box office, which actually is kind of sad that the number one movie only took an 18. Now, according to David Poland and his Substack, hey Derek, thanks, man.
Nice.
Joining us.
Sorry to be late.
According to David Poland's Substack, the hot button, he says that Netflix, their deal is they only take 20% of the box office. The theaters get 80%. And Regal, one of the change, was happy to add screenings because of that.
Mm-hmm.
They were sold out. It's insane.
Mm-hmm.
Derek, I know you were there with me. We saw the sing along. You posted videos on your channel. Go check those out, everyone. For those that saw it, what did you think? Derek, what did you think? I don't know, Steph,
awesome,
if you've
man.
seen it.
It was awesome. I'm so glad Netflix did this. Just because I feel like Hollywood needs to see the type of energy you can get from well-made movies, TV shows, etc. Hollywood needs to see that. They need to show that, hey, people still want to go to the movies. People still want to have fun. You just have to have the right things out there for them to watch. And if if you build it, they will come, as they say. You put together a really good movie that's a lot of fun, great music, great message, and everybody's going to show up. So I think this is really great. I'm glad it took number one as well. And only 1,700 theaters, which I think shouldn't go unnoticed. That this is like half of the normal wide release that you would see from theaters, and yet it blew everything else in the weekend out of the water. And I know theaters are happy about this too. So I'm glad for the theaters. I'm glad for the fans of K-pop Demon Hunters. It's a nice, enjoyable movie. So hopefully we see more of it.
Yeah. The only thing I don't think we see here in the top 10, I know it's a limited release currently through Fathom Events, is Primitive War, which was it's down. I don't know. It's down. I don't know. I don't see it.
They may not be on there.
They may not be reporting. And that's the one thing. Do you see an announcement from Netflix? The #1 movie in America. They're not touting it. It's just fine. Chump change there. And the merch has rolled out. It's insane the amount of merch, certain items selling out. They've got they could well end up winning best animated feature at the Oscars and best song. So I don't know what you guys' thoughts are. Rob, not sure if you've seen it yet.
I have not seen. I've seen the movie on Netflix, but I didn't see the sing along.
Anyone who wants to chime in with thoughts, it's a Fathom event.
Yeah, I think this is pretty awesome. This is a movie that wasn't supposed to go to theaters. It's just supposed to be free on Netflix. Netflix, taking 20%. I don't think that was their whole point of putting it in theaters. They want people to subscribe to Netflix to watch it over and over and over again, because this is a movie you can watch today. You don't have to go to the theater to watch it, but people did. They went for that community to sing it out loud, to go, with other people that like this movie, to go and kind of celebrate it at the theater. The point wasn't to make money on it, because it never was supposed to make money, because it was supposed to be free on Netflix, but they wanted to bring people over back to their subscription. They want more subscribers that can watch it over and over and over again. What's crazy to me is that this movie was made for $100 million. It was sold to Netflix for I think they said 20 million. And Sony just completely lost big on that. They lost out on all of the merchandising, putting it in theaters. They lost out on box office money. They just completely lost out, because they're comparing it to Disney's Frozen. This is Netflix's Frozen. This is their new franchise that they can make a lot of money off of, and they plan to as well, because they're looking at making sequels. They're looking at making a live action, and I'm glad that they're starting to roll out with merchandise, because I think that a lot of people don't really have faith in these movies, so they will skimp out on the merchandise. But I've seen a lot of TikToks where people want the merchandise for this movie. They're making their own merchandise for this movie. Yeah. Little kids are wanting their birthday parties to be K-pop Demon Hunter themed, and there's nothing out there for that right now. So the parents are having to kind of DIY their own thing. So this is huge right now, and it has the potential to be even bigger, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah. Anyone else want to comment on this? This is truly a phenomenon. I think Sony blew it by not understanding.
Well, they could still make the sequel, right? Well, that's where they're going to do some negotiating.
Diminishing returns there.
When it's time to make the sequel, everybody's going to be looking for that. So I think that's where Sony's going to have a lot of sway in those negotiations. And maybe they threw it out there for that reason, not knowing if this thing would sell. Because if you put it directly to theaters, does this have the same buzz if it came out in theaters initially versus going to Netflix? Whereas if you throw it on Netflix, it has a wider audience. People can watch it, pick it up, and it can catch fire. I don't know if it catches fire if it's in theaters the same way that it caught fire being on Netflix. That's one of the questions I have. I'm not sure about that, but I think when it comes to the sequel, they're going to dominate those talks, because you guys want another one, don't you? All right, let's talk.
Yeah, but did Netflix buy the rights to K-pop Demon Hunter, or does Sony still have it? Which means
no, they
the
bought the rights
could easily that the sequels could easily come to theaters. This also shows how superior the theatrical experience is compared to watching this at home. And I think that's the important thing to understand is, I think if all said and done, I think people would rather watch this in the theater than on their big television at home.
Yeah. But I do think this is a Frozen level phenomenon. I mean, and I would say this, Frozen had 2 good songs in that movie. This has a lot more good songs.
Yeah. It's a full
7 out of the 8 songs charted in the Spotify top 8.
Yeah.
On Saturday, they were the top 8 songs downloaded on Spotify were K-pop, or the top 7 of the top 8 were K-pop Demon Hunter songs.
Yeah. This is the biggest girl group. I read that this is the biggest girl group to chart since Destiny's Child.
Wow.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
That's
Anyways,
crazy.
Look,
Yeah.
I'm happy for it. I'm really disappointed that Netflix doesn't think theatrical matters. I know from their bottom line it doesn't, but I feel the movies that are released theatrically have more value on streaming. We've seen articles about it. It just is true. And even Paramount responding by saying, we're not making streaming movies. We're going to make movies and we'll release them in theaters and then they'll come on streaming, but we're not making movies for streaming. So thoughts on this, and then I have another box office related story.
Well, Chris,
Yeah,
I mean,
I'll chime in real quick.
Please.
I think for Netflix, theatrical doesn't matter for them. They're a tech company. They're not a studio. So for them, this is all product. This isn't like art for them. This is just a product in their tech machine, right? So it doesn't make sense for them to go to theatrical at all. Like for the bottom line, it's better that it just stays on their platform so that you have to go to their platform. So
the other thing is,
I completely understand why Netflix is, has the stance that they have on theatrical.
Yeah, the other thing is it costs money to put a movie in a theater, and that cost is mostly advertising. How much advertising did Netflix spend on K-pop Demon Hunter in theaters?
Zero.
None.
It was all
So
word
it was
of mouth.
no scratch off their nose.
None. Yeah. Social media did the advertising for them, to be honest, with everybody. I mean, I scroll and every other video is a K-pop Demon Hunter one.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Did you see people in theaters singing along? Is that on I'm not on TikTok.
Oh, it's on TikTok. Yeah, it's on TikTok and Instagram. They're having a blast. They have their phones out, like with flashlights. They're all jumping and singing. They're having a really, really good time. So
Nice.
yeah, it's huge.
Yeah.
I mean, there's definitely a correlation between this and Minecraft, and I think, maybe just event movies or situations are kind of what are saving theaters right now. Not by a lot, but I think people are going to go see an event more than they'll go see a movie right now.
Well, one other thing to point out about this, it's original IP. I mean, sure, it has the legacy of K-pop music, people affiliate, stars related to this. And then also I feel like it owes something to a genre of cartoon that's been around for a long time. The Beatles cartoon, Osmond's cartoon, Jackson 5 cartoon of the 70s, the Archies, the Josie and the Pussycats, Gem and the Holograms, groups where you mix music and adventure and kind of comedy. That's a staple genre that's been around forever. So it's reinvented via K-pop with kind of a cool, simple story of protecting the world with the Hunma, right? This musical shield, keeping demons away. Simple story. And even a whole bunch of lore they gloss over in the beginning, which I'm sure will come up in further films.
Also, they're attractive characters that have flaws that overcome it. They're not perfect at everything. It's you do it. They did it the right way, and it's resonating with everyone. Like I have so many people that should not be liking this, and they love it and are watching it over and over again. So it clearly did everything it is supposed to do the correct way.
And to be fair, before you make fun of me, yes, I like Gem and the Holograms, but I'm a Misfits guy. If you watch Gem and the Holograms, the Misfits were way cooler. They had the cooler songs. They're more badass. If anyone knows what I'm talking about, look up the Misfits from.
I was more of a fan of the Stingers, but yeah, I love that cartoon actually. And that's the thing. Even back then, like that was a girl's cartoon. But many guys watched that cartoon.
Right. Because it was so ridiculous. So ridiculous. Hey,
the comparison for me is the Monkeys.
The Monkeys also. Monkeys. Yeah. Hey, so let's talk about the box office bloodbath. 18 million for number one at the box office. That's not that great. Honestly, it's not great. And there's an article here. I know you have the notes. The summer box office is quickly turning south. Underperforming movies, straight up bombs, and fantastic flops. Let's get into it with this. I want to hear your guys' thoughts.
Well, I mean, it is the dog days of summer. You know, there was nothing other than K-pop Demon Hunters. Really, no new movies opened. You know, so I think that there wasn't. You know, Weapons has been out for 3 weeks, and that was the number 2 film.
Right.
So it's I wouldn't necessarily say that this is unexpected, but there aren't a lot of movies. I mean, there's been August doesn't really have a like a newer tentpole, like a John Wick movie to come out, which is something that usually would happen in August. I don't think we haven't had any of that. Weapons, luckily, did some business. But other than
You guys
that,
remember what was out at this time last year? It was Deadpool and Wolverine, and that one made $1 billion. I think Marvel probably thought that Fantastic Four would have those same kind of numbers, or at least do something similar. The article is really talking about the entire summer and how it's down from 2 or 3 years ago. I want to say 23 when we had Barbenheimer. And the box office overall is just not getting back to pre-pandemic levels. They're not getting back to where it was. There's a chart on this article if you scroll down. There's a chart that talks about where the box office was back in the in 15, 16. Yeah, that one right there.
Here we go.
So you got $4.6 billion. I think that was in 2013. And it's peaked. And you can just see a downward, box office every year since then. A downward trend, and it bottomed out during the pandemic, but it's just not come back. And I think that's just overall the same problem we're seeing with the box office in general. The numbers aren't coming back. People aren't going to the movies anymore. And even when you have Superman and Jurassic World and Fantastic Four, you had what else we have this summer? F1. And I mean, there's been a lot of movies this summer. Lilo and Stitch, that's a summer movie that was dropped Memorial Day. And all of these movies have, they just can't get back to whatever was going on in 2013, because 2013, the summer, almost 5 billion, so I think that's what they're really talking about, how it's just been down.
Yeah, but Chris, you could attest to this, because we talk about this every week, but there's a big movie, and then how many weeks in between those 2 big movies are we stretching to find some movie to review? At least 2 to 3 weeks. I mean, it's not that the box office is slumping. There's not a lot of movies. There's not a lot of studio films that are out there.
And I think there's a lack of enthusiasm for the 7th Jurassic World movie, or the you know what I mean? Like where's the original IP for the new generation that trains them? Hey, going to the movies on the regular is a fun thing to do. Yeah. And I think for young people, it's barely 1 movie a month, barely. And not even that. It's, it takes a lot, like a Minecraft or a K-pop Demon Hunters. So
I did see Caught Stealing over the weekend.
Oh, and
I saw it too. Really good movie.
I have to say I disagree with my esteemed colleague. I thought that it needed to be more. It had all these great elements in it, but I think that Darren Aronofsky was the wrong director for it. It needed to be more. I thought it needed to be more, a little bit more Guy Ritchie in terms of like Snatched or something.
Right.
See, I thought that's what the movie was going to be more like. I thought it was going to be more like a Guy Ritchie film.
No, it was pretty hard. I mean, it's pretty hardcore. It did some things that I was not expecting, especially with the character early on. That they spent a lot of time establishing this. It was the kind of thing where, and once that happened, the tone of the movie changed, and I was like, huh. So I didn't love it.
Disappointing. All right.
I think honestly the time of box office might be over. Like I it's something that we got trained, we got groomed in a way to pay attention to. I don't think box office matters anymore. I think at this point, and wait, hear me out when I say this. I think people are going to watch what they're going to watch, right? It's no longer about the advertisement. It might be a little bit about the word of mouth, but definitely not the advertisement anymore. I think people are priced out of movies. I think that there's been too many bad movies, too many to recover from. I don't know if you're a studio at this point, you got to start making some decisions, right? You got to start paying actors way less You got to, find a way to get it down to 100 mil at the most, which I don't think a lot of studios are willing to do at this point. So I think just from here on out, box office isn't going to mean anything.
Yeah,
Well,
you're not going to be saying the word billion for a while now.
Yeah.
No,
well, not as
Gears
often.
over.
Yeah.
Not as often. But I'll say this: box office was always a lie that the marketing department turned into some way to sell a movie. When I think back to when I first became a regular moviegoer, which was when I was in high school, and I was fortunate to live walking distance to a movie theater that was a dollar theater. I saw Jaws multiple times in one summer when I was a kid and walked alone by myself to the movies. I saw movies on the regular. I was lucky. I wanted to get a car, not to date girls, but to go to the movies every week and see every movie in a theater. That's why I
was
bought
that
a
kid
car.
too.
When I was 16, the day I turned 16, got my license, and I drove to the Abbey Theater and then the Oakland Mall and the Americana, if you know Detroit, that was back then. But the point is we're witnessing the death of shared experiences, not just movie theaters, but all types of shared experiences where you go with a lot of people. There's a number of reasons for that, but I think COVID broke it. And box office was always a lie that was like, it's this much money. Notice they tout the money. Everything adjusted for inflation is less, including Superman v. Man of Steel. You look at that, Man of Steel made more money, not even adjusted for inflation. So
ticket sales were in half too. So just less people are going to the, as already talked about.
Exactly. But we have a friend of the show, April Wright. She makes documentaries about this. She calls it going attractions. It's things Americans used to do that they no longer do, like go to a movie palace, drive-ins, roller rinks. I mean, when you look at the number of shared experiences that look at any montage of footage of kids from the 80s at a Pizza Hut and the way they interact. No one's looking at a phone. They're all goofing on each other, having fun. The culture has changed, and it's changed the way money is spent. Also, people don't have the disposable money to do these kinds of things anymore. Anyways, that's my big rant. Any final
but no,
thoughts
you're
on
right,
this?
Chris. Like I priced out going to see Weapons. I was doing a bit on my show, and I priced out going to Weapons, 2 people, a popcorn, a drink, a medium pizza, and an icy, and it cost $70. That's ridiculous.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous. You can't afford it. Young kids, especially in the Gen Z era, they cannot afford to go to the movies and pay $70 for a movie that maybe will be good. You know, like throwing your when it was a $5 ticket, like, I can go and check this movie out. It might be good, it might suck, but I don't mind wasting $5 to see if a movie is good. But if it's going to cost me and a date $70 to go to a movie, forget it, man. I'm not going. Chris, unless I got A-list or something like that.
I want to quickly add something to what I said, a little addendum. I think the big shared experience that is becoming popular are street takeovers. That's become huge. Street takeovers, cars at an intersection, racing, scantily clad women, sitting on those cars, kids in dangerous situations doing stupid crap. To be fair, I also did stupid crap as a kid. Never a street takeover.
Yeah.
But I think,
and peaceful protesting. That's the other one.
Yeah.
I think something you missed out is that less kids are working. When I was in high school, everybody had a job. Nobody, like our parents did not give us. I mean, we all had cars, but we all had to pay for them ourselves. We everybody had jobs, and I mean, I came from an upper middle class environment, but everybody, at our school, a car was not a nice car. You wouldn't have a nice car because you're a teenager and you're going to trash it. We didn't have a nice car culture. People looked at cars as utilitarian because everybody worked and everybody wanted to go places. Like there was a lot of people, like where I grew up, we skied on the weekends, for instance, because you're close to the mountains. So kids, we were always doing things. We were going to concerts. We were there. I mean, in Seattle, where I grew up, there was a lot of arts and there was a lot of stuff. And you'd meet, like, your friends would be working at the mall. So you wouldn't hang out at the mall, but you'd go to the mall, pick them up and go somewhere else. And kids today there's not even any jobs anymore other than fast food for kids. Are they working at, big box retailers anymore? Do they do that? I mean, Elizabeth's kids, I've raised them for like 10 years and they didn't have jobs as teenagers. And that was what fueled, we were independent. That was part of the whole thing is driving gave you independence, but also we weren't beholden, waiting for our parents to give us money. You'd go out and have your own money. So people were doing things because that's why you work, to have fun.
I had newspaper routes from the time I was 9 to 19, and I spent my money on Aurora model kits, comic books. I bought a VCR when I was 14. Blank
videotapes were not cheap back then.
They were not cheap, and also the MSRP of things like Superman the motion picture was like $89.99. Remember?
Yep.
And that was when $90 was a lot of money. So that was a different era. I always had the paper route and a restaurant job that was like on the weekends only.
Was your paper route dangerous? Because I used to play Paperboy on Nintendo, and it seemed like that is a very dangerous job.
It wasn't dangerous for the Paperboy.
I walked 14 blocks, and I every day for 10 years.
And you're carrying papers. I mean, it was a great workout.
Yeah, no, it was great.
And I had on my paper route, I had 53 houses. And if I didn't get the paper to their house by 4:30, it was like 4:45. Somebody would be waiting at the door going, "What's taking you so long?"
Right.
And then you had to collect your own money.
Yes. Well, I don't want to bore anyone.
I sold Apple computers in high school.
Wow. Dangerously close to saying uphill in the snow both ways. Yes.
Okay. Hey, speaking of box office bloodbath, there's a Mandalorian movie coming. Did anyone know that? And what is it going to be a hodgepodge of all the Disney Plus Star Wars shows? But Katee Sackoff had a comment on a recent podcast. I'm going to just share her comment, and then we got to talk Mandalorian because I have no idea. I have no idea what the movie's going to be. There hasn't been a teaser. There's a leaked trailer, but it's just a hallway fight scene. There's a leaked trailer, but I have no idea what this movie is even going to be. I have it right here, the clip, but what are people's thoughts on like what the Mandalorian movie is even? What is it? Why do we need it? What's the point?
Well, I was about to say that. Does anybody even really care? I mean, Mando was cucked. He was cucked in his own show in his last season. So who cares? He's no longer the cool guy we want to follow. So,
you don't want to see him rescue Jabba's gladiatorial son, played by the guy from The Bear, a big muscly hut, because that's what it is, and protect him from bounty hunters.
Anyone cares about this? Like
well, let's see.
I just want to see. I want to see Jack Black and Lizzo make out.
Yeah.
Let's see what Katee Sackoff has to say. She's dealing with some things.
I lost all of my confidence after Mandalorian.
After Mandalorian, you lost your confidence?
All of it.
What are you talking about? How?
Because it wasn't, this is such a weird thing to even talk about.
This is great that we're talking about this because oftentimes actors don't share this stuff.
My style of acting has always just been your first instinct is the right instinct.
Yeah.
Do that.
Okay.
Play the reality of the situation. And I've never really played a character. You know what I mean? Like I've always played 2 steps removed from myself in a sense. Like it always felt grounded in some part of my belly of who I was.
Sure. Okay.
Bo-Katan is nowhere near who I am as a human being. Her life, what she wants, like I didn't understand her. I mean, as much as I understood her, I never felt her in my stomach. I never identified with her. I didn't know how to find her. And I found myself.
That's scary when that happens.
Very scary.
Yeah.
And it broke me. It just broke me, where I started.
So it broke. First of all, by the way, I love Katee Sackoff. I think she should have played Captain Marvel.
Interesting to note that she's played this character for years in the cartoon Bull series, and it wasn't until live action, specifically the 3rd season, that she started having these issues of.
But to be fair, it seems like working on a Disney / Lucasfilm production has to be miserable. It has to be miserable, not fun. I love Katee Sackoff. Rob, you've worked with her.
Yeah, she's in my audio drama, and I have to say, she wanted to talk to me the night before, and she wanted to know what I wanted from the character, and she loved the writing, and I thought that was a really classy move on her part. And I got to tell you, she came loaded to bear. I mean, she was amazing, to the point where she has a breakdown. She breaks up with the main character in the end of the 2nd episode she's in, and I was astonished. I mean, even though it was voiceover, man, it was heartbreaking. I would hire her I would put her in anything. She was great in Longmire, the series Longmire, which a lot of people don't know she was in. I mean, she's a phenomenal actress. Phenomenal. So
I think she has a lot of cred for sure. I love Battlestar. I'm always going to go back to that for me with her.
Same.
Love Battlestar, but I'm on Badger with this. I'm gonna call bullshit a little bit, because you play a character for 4 years before you even get to live action, and you don't understand their motivation. Like, you don't understand who they are as a character.
But I think she's being honest. I think she's being honest.
Yeah, but it's so unlike Disney to not go back to the source material and just to create a brand new character and then voice
that's where I'm going with it. I think the character changed so much from the animated to the Mando season.
Did she though? Because she still wanted the same thing in the Mandalorian. She still wanted the same thing.
Yeah, but the issue is demands on being on set on the Mandalorian is very different than being in an animated series.
Yeah, originally
you had directors who understood the characters in the animated versus
you had voice acting directors. This is years later on a 3rd season with Filoni as the only one on set explaining everything and telling her motivation. Sit in the chair and go like this. Why am I just sitting there like this? Just do it.
Character?
Filoni created Bo-Katan. Yeah, this is all Clone Wars characters. She's played the character in voice acting for years. It's only in the live action depiction where the dissonance is happening.
Yeah, but she talked about it. She likes characters that play the moment, that plays the reality of the moment. And I'm figuring out that she probably didn't get that chance to do it on the live action.
No, what her issue is, Bo-Katan is not a good person, so she can't play it twice removed, because there's no part of her that would do the things that Bo does. And so it's hard for her to play a character that's complete and utterly separate from her. So she thinks, she goes on to say that she got an acting coach and did a couple other different things. But
and don't get me wrong, I love Katee Sackoff. I think she's a great actress. I think she's one of the more genuine people out there. I just found it weird that the same character, played for all these years, she didn't understand.
You know what's really weird too? Battlestar Galactica. We've all seen it. Most of us have seen it. BSG, the reinvented one. I love the one from the 80s, with Lauren Green. It was of its time. Let's just say I even watched Galactica 1980. I love it. I love the score. I love it. I also love the Ron Moore BSG. And if you think about it, they race and gender swapped a lot of people and nobody cared. Katee Sackoff as Starbuck was awesome. I do miss Colonel Ty, Boomer. Like they changed those characters around, which was fine. It was diverse in a different way. But why did no one complain then?
People did complain. I remember people complaining.
No, some people did complain, Chris.
But she very quickly changed their minds.
Yes. Well, I think when the show came out, no one cared about Sackoff as
where was social media at when that?
Well, that's true. Social media was not a thing.
And I remember they announced it by having them at Starbucks
when that show was around, right?
Yeah. No, but there was MySpace and Facebook. They had them at Starbucks, where the original actor and her talked. It was sort of like come on, the original actor's okay with it, don't hate us. And then the miniseries came out and everyone loved her.
Yeah, but it was I'll tell you what it was. The writing was great.
Yep.
You can quibble about a lot of other stuff on that show. The writing was phenomenal. The casting was great. So
I was going to say something about Katee Sackoff and
Please.
the Mando season 3. So I'm crushing ice. There's this scene when you first meet her, and the Mandalorian lands, and she's sitting in her like throne or something, and she's kind of draped over this, and the Mandalorian has to walk down this really long corridor to get to her. I'm sure, being the actress that she was, she's like, why am I sitting in this chair?
She verbatim asked that question.
Why am I waiting for this guy to come? Wouldn't I go meet him? Like, she's draped over and for me, when I watch that scene, and I, as somebody who's directed television before, I'm like, that is a terrible thing to do to an actor, because what you're doing is you're asking an actor who's supposed to be a character to not do something. Yep, you're just going to sit there, Katee. Nobody would do that. And so she was probably thinking to herself, why am I supposed, if I run this place and this is my domicile, what am I going to do? Just walk? Nobody in their right mind would sit there and wait for somebody to walk down a really long corridor. You'd meet them halfway, or you'd do something.
And unless your character is arrogant, unless your character has this sort of persona about herself, like, then you would expect, no, everybody approaches me. And that's where I was like, this isn't Bo-Katan.
Yeah, but real quick,
do that. And that's the major issue that I had. And that's why I think the character's changed from what Bo-Katan was in the Clone Wars to where she is here. Just
to
from
Robert's
that scene,
point. Right? There's literally footage of her asking what he just said. Why am I sitting there? Do I just sit like that all the time? Yeah, it's one of her podcasts. Do I just sit like that and wait for people to come?
That's the problem.
So I'm really suggesting that the reason she all of a sudden started having problems is because the live action version is not written as well with enough thought and care, and there's a very big difference between animation and live action.
Yeah,
and that's where the problems come.
And I thought, for the most part, the thing about season 3, I thought Mandalorian was it was fine for what it was. It was never great. It was fine, but when the time you get into the 3rd season, the writing was so terrible. It's so clunky. You're always asking yourself, what is going on? Like, how I'm landing when they went down to Mandalore, they would go down into Mandalore, they'd come back up, they'd go back down into Mandalore, and they'd come back up like 3 times in one episode. And I was like, what is this? Like, these are like first draft scripts they're shooting.
Served no narrative point at all.
Yeah, and
we saw hints of that. We saw hints of that with the Book of Boba Fett.
Well, that was terrible too.
Yeah.
Look, when they brought Baby Yoda back, I mean, that was the death of the show. The
Which
point was
the 2nd season, right? That everyone loved at the end, that button.
The point, like, just deliver this baby to Luke. Maybe this character will come up again. But one of the things that George Lucas said, I've seen quotes from him recently, is that it was in the Red Letter Media, which I think Rob, you were in it.
Yeah,
I think a lot of the FNT people and Rob.
I was like, why? What do you got to put me in there for? I wasn't hit. I wasn't raging on the. It was funny.
Why was I not in there? Excluded. They had thumbnails. Anyways, whatever it was, they kept bringing back that, like, Lucas, he was so good at restraint, right? It was never too much of something makes you want it more. The character Boba Fett. Think back to when that character was popular originally. It was sparseness. He had minutes of screen time. It was the coolest character in the galaxy. And you had to send away. He was in a cartoon on the holiday special, the best part of that holiday special. And you had to send off with box tops to get that rocket firing Boba Fett. He made things so cool by limiting their viewing. And Disney has no restraint. Everything is done to death. And we're going to get baby Chewbacca and baby Dengar and baby of every Star Wars character. They will milk this franchise to death if it's not dead already, and it probably is.
Well, it's interesting that they decided to take a TV show and turn it into a movie. Like, if you've watched Mandalorian on television, why would you get excited about, now I have to go pay for The Mandalorian, which is I mean, I understand maybe the movie's going to be good. I have no idea, but
it's team ups. They want them to team up with.
But it's just so weird that's what they decided to do. Is what a lazy thing to do.
But that was their plan, wasn't it? They were going to combine all of the, like Book of Boba Fett, Skeleton Crew, Rangers of the New Republic, like all of these Filoni-verse movies into a grand event, and they were going to put that in theaters. And I think
If this one
It's
works,
the Infinity War of Star Wars.
if this one
Yeah.
works, reportedly Filoni was going to get his tie-up that would end off Ahsoka and Thrawn and all the other stuff. But this one has to work, and I wasn't kidding when that is the plot of the movie. It's Mandalorian and Baby Grogu protecting Jabba the Hutt's son, who's a gladiator Hutt, and he's being targeted by rival bounty hunters. So it's like Terminator 2, basically, but Baby Grogu and Mandalorian are the Terminator protecting John Connor, Jabba's son. Yeah.
In the words of Harrison Ford, I don't care.
The guy from the Bear plays Jabba's son.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
Jeremy Allen White.
Does he look like a human or does he look like a
He
Hutt?
looks like a big muscly Hutt.
Wait,
You've seen these
Jeremy
depictions in the
Allen
Clone
White?
Wars.
They're wasting as an actor on that?
Yes.
Sigourney Weaver's in it too.
Oh,
as
I hope
a-
he got paid well.
General of some sort. I think a New Republic general.
Oh my God.
They got
This
talent.
is-
I don't know. And I don't know if Pedro is going to show his face. I would, if I were them, I would keep Pedro out of all the marketing from now until when the film comes out. I would just have nothing but Jon Favreau, and that's it.
Yeah,
Jon
it just seems
Favreau
like this
probably
is
directing the
Jon
film.
Favreau's swan song. You know,
Well,
thanks for your service in Star Wars. Here's your movie. Now,
to be fair,
Great.
Favreau was one of the directors considered for episode 7. He was going to make it. And I think JJ, well, it seemed at the time the right choice. And Red Letter Media, of course, called it. They were the ones that made that happen. That's why JJ Abrams did Force Awakens. He would have been a better choice. Looking at Mandalorian season 1, Favreau was a better choice. He understood Star Wars better than J.J. Abrams. Not a stretch. A lot of people could. So hey, not pivoting not far, still in Disneyland. Snoop Dogg had some choice words that I'd like to get people's comments on. What?
Oh, I read this. It's funny
Well,
you bring this up.
now you're gonna see it.
It's funny.
Now you're gonna see it. Is this the right thing? Here it is. I don't know what this is. All right, well, it's queued up, so let's watch this for those that haven't seen this. Snoop Dogg on a podcast.
So crazy what they teach you so young, because one of my nieces was telling me, she's like, yeah, I think I have anxiety. I was like, okay.
You got to back it up.
I don't even know what that is. Then she's telling me all these different things they teach you in school. They're teaching you about anxiety and depression. And then, you diagnose yourself. Well, I'm really tired now, and I've just been feeling really sad. I'm depressed. No, you're not. No, you're not. You know what? You need to go outside. You need to roll in that grass. You need to eat something green. You need to drink some water. And you need to stop looking at the screens. I'm so tired of screen time. What do you think about these kids and screen time?
Well, you notice I don't have a phone on me.
Oh.
Professional. I think it's good and bad.
Yeah.
Because all of my grandkids know how to work an iPad, a telephone, all of that.
Is this the right clip?
You got to back it up. You got to back it up, Chris. It's back it up right before you started it. It was about maybe a minute before that.
Okay. All right. I'm going to try here.
When I hit 35, it was like, all right. I'm a grown ass man now, like for real. Like I'm serious. And people looked at me different.
All right,
and respected me. And
all right. I'm going to need the exact timestamp video if I could get it. So, but those that saw it, it's Snoop Dogg took his first of all, he has grandkids, which I mean, he's
a national treasure.
He is a national treasure.
He really is.
And
we tried to tell them this for a long time, right? That you cannot expect parents to take their kids to movies that will start a conversation that they, the parent, are not ready to have with the child.
Yeah,
And
it's
kept going.
He saw the Buzz Lightyear. I don't know where it is. I don't want to waste your time. Let's try this.
I put the small clip from Twitter in the private chat. If you want.
All right, good. Let's just play that then. So, okay, we'll get right to it. Apologies for this thing here. It's on X.
But she said some good things. I was really interested.
She said some good stuff too. Yeah.
Yeah. Social media is full of like self-diagnosis people.
Exactly.
and it's influencing the younger kids that are on social media right now, so that now they know all of those buzzwords and they self-diagnose themselves. So yeah, she did make some good points.
Yeah, like anxiety is a badge of honor as opposed to something to overcome.
It's clout. It's clout. It's I'm different. It's a mutant superpower.
Yeah.
Here we go. Here's the clip.
Autism.
Yeah, everyone. Yeah, everyone is okay.
That's why they put it in their bio. They're proud of it.
Yeah, neurodivergent. I still don't know what that is. All right, now it's really soft. Let's start this. All right. Okay, 7th time is the charm.
I took my grandson to see what was the movie with Buzz Light?
Toy Story?
Not that one, but
the new Buzz. The Lightyear. I think it's called Lightyear.
With Kiki Palmer's in that movie.
Okay.
She plays like the daughter. So we watching it, and the lady, which is Kiki's mama, they move on into the space years. They move down the line. They're like, man, she had a baby with a woman. Well, my grandson in the middle of the movie, like, Papa Snoop, how she have a baby with a woman? She a woman. Oh, shit. I didn't come in for this shit. I just came and watched the goddamn movie. Hey, man, watch the movie. They just said.
Does grandson Snoop look like a mini version of Snoop? Like exactly like Snoop, but just tiny. Like a baby Yoda. With Snoop. All right. That'd be cute.
Yeah, baby blunts and
the baby blunt.
She had a baby. They both women's. How did she have a baby? Shh. The movie ain't over with. So it's like, fuck me. I'm scared to go to the movies now. Like, y'all throwing me in the middle of shit that I don't have an answer for. I took my grand.
He's right. Look, as I was a young dad, parent to 2 kids. They ask questions about everything, everything, and they got to be ready for certain things. What you expose your kids to when they're of a certain age matters. When they get introduced, I mean, my daughter saw the first Alien probably way too young, 12, 13, and she's a Giger and Alien fan to today, but she loved horror, more and more horror stuff, and she was ready for it. So there you go. But feel free to judge me. But I don't want to be surprised going to a movie with something like that. He has a point.
I think it all goes back to like Disney's not so secret gay agenda, when they had all of those plans to put all of that messaging in their movie and target it towards children because they know how impressionable and inquisitive kids are. And it raises some questions as parents, like, are we ready to teach young children this? Or is that a conversation for a later time? I mean, personally, I think it's a conversation for a later time. But they know that kids are going to be asking those questions. So it invites those questions into your household, whether you want them or not. If you're going to take your kids to see this movie, you have no choice but to answer those questions to your kids. I mean, unless you completely ignore it altogether, because those kids are going to be very impressionable and they're going to ask you about it like they did with his grandkid. And it invites that into your home, whether you want it to or not. Is Disney overstepping with this agenda? I think they are. Yeah.
Well, and Disney has learned their lesson because the movie failed, right? And we've seen that they've taken out those kind of scenes in other movies, like Inside Out 2, things like that. But the thing is, Snoop isn't saying anything that we haven't been saying for the past 10 years, right? I mean, we've been talking about this shit forever, right? But we're just bigots. We're just bigots. So, but and I guess he is now
in the first place to be.
Well, he's getting dragged on social media because of this. So
he is getting dog walked.
Oh, he
all
is.
over
But the fact they
right now.
put it out at all, you know what I'm saying? He's getting attacked by the usual suspects. But the fact that they just put it out, there's a couple of those headlines. It's like, oh, we're allowed to do that again without having like a judgy title in it, right? Because the Overton window is shifted a little bit.
Yeah. Yep.
Mhm.
But I think, Chris, you bring out one of the things I thought was strange when activists wanted to include children in these kinds of discussions. I mean, when I was a kid, I liked boobs, but I was unaware of what sexuality was. I wasn't even aware of my own. I just, I knew I was straight to the extent when I was in the 4th grade or something, 10 years old. I liked movies, but I knew I liked seeing girls' boobs. That was about it. I didn't think
movie.
What's that?
You remember what was the first movie you saw where you're like, I don't know what I'm feeling, but I
Logan's
know I'm-
Run.
Logan's Run.
Logan's Run.
There you go.
It was Logan's Run.
Run.
It was in the ice cave in Logan's Run when Jenny Agutter dropped her drawers. And there's also, you forget how graphic the love shop was. That scene.
Yes.
But the thing
Worse than Peacemaker.
Oh my God.
The thing
Sorry.
is, you weren't like, I wasn't thinking, nobody was, it was not something I'll tell you when I had a really interesting experience. My father, Jerry Weintraub, produced William Friedkin's movie Cruising, which is set in the gay leather underworld of New York circa 1979. My dad insured Jerry Weintraub, so we went to a screening of that movie. Now, I kind of had I was 12, I think, when I saw it. And I knew kind of what homosexuality was, but I wasn't aware of the mechanics of it, or I knew that guys liked other guys. It didn't bother me, my parents. But when I saw Cruising at 12, I did not know what the rough leather trade was. I didn't understand fisting. I didn't understand any of that stuff. And it's depicted right there on screen. And my dad had no idea the kind of movie that he was taking me to. And even though I was 12, I had questions for my dad. And he didn't want to answer. And I was like, Dad, I don't quite understand. Like, I get that dudes like other dudes. I knew people that were gay, but I didn't understand the gay leather underworld. And my dad, to be fair, didn't either. And we just gone to see this movie, and the whole movie is set in that world. And my father had a really difficult time trying to answer my questions, even as a 12-year-old. I knew I didn't pursue it, but then I did a lot of reading about it later. But when I was watching that film, it really got because I thought I was a pretty savvy movie watcher. But when I was looking at all this stuff, I was unprepared for it. I didn't know. I was actually watching something. It wasn't that it was offensive. I just didn't understand it. I mean, I understood guys like guys, but I didn't understand the gay leather daddy, underworld with the big mutton chop, the hair. I was like, what is going on here? And it was uncomfortable for my father. I was intrigued by it all, but
the thing I don't understand though about Disney is this for me. There's some companies where, and I'm always thinking of things from a business standpoint. There's some companies that have to adapt to the change, right? They have to bring themselves up to recent times, right? Some companies have to do that. A company like Disney does not. They were built on family, right? That never changes. That they could just stay in that lane forever. They never have to switch away from family entertainment, right? So, and the thing that I don't get, and it pisses me off even more, is that they have outlets for this, right? They have, well, back in the day, they had Touchstone, they had other, studios that they owned, where if they wanted to tell a gay story, they could tell that story with those other companies that they own. They didn't have to do it with Disney proper. So it's weird to me that they decided to mess up a brand. And I say this with everything. I say it with Victoria's Secret. I say it with Anheuser-Busch. I say it with Playboy. You have a 60-year brand, 60-year-old brand. Why are you screwing that up?
I think
It's like Alan.
Companies are run by activists with no children.
Yes.
They don't understand having children. They don't understand family. And to be honest, they don't really care about, core family values either. All they care about is spreading their activism and their message. And using that
I can understand
platform
if you're making profit though, right? If you're making money from it, I get it. They're not.
But they think that the message is the most important thing. Eventually it will pan out, right? Eventually that audience that they're pandering to will somehow latch onto their property, but it just hasn't happened. I think that they really truly believe that there is an audience, that they are doing some good. Eventually it will pay off, and it just hasn't. It hasn't paid off.
Well, if you think about it, I'm just looking here at this. It says, according to a Gallup News report in 2025, 9.3% of the U.S. adult population identify as LGBTQ, and 2% identify as gay, 1.4% as lesbian, and 5.2% as bisexual. With those minuscule numbers, why is it that a family company like Disney even has to address these issues in their product at all? I mean, I understand, like you were just saying, about activism, and you want to, but in something like Lightyear, when you're talking about representation in a family brand, I don't think that it's up to a family brand to have to deal with that kind of representation. I mean, when you're watching especially a movie about fictional creatures, do you have to even address that? Like, why put it in at all?
Well, the goal
Well,
is to
in the
normalize it.
bubble
The
of
goal is to
Hollywood.
make it normal, right?
Of course,
That's the whole
but
point.
in children's movies, they're not putting regular sexuality in them either. You know, they're
No, in
not
the
making
bubble of Hollywood, they think it's totally fine. You know, putting sexuality, putting all of these messages in children's movies is totally fine because it'll eventually normalize it later on.
it.
And like they think that their opinion is the correct one, which is why, like during the promotion of Buzz Lightyear, when Chris Evans, who voiced Buzz Lightyear, said, was told of all of this, he was just like, eventually all of those old dinosaurs will die out. Meaning the people that did not like that messaging that was being celebrated when the movie was coming out, he's just like, he didn't care. He's like, whatever, they're old dinosaurs. They're going to die out eventually. You know, they think that they are correct in their messaging to children. And within that small Hollywood bubble, when you have everybody telling you, oh yeah, that's totally fine. Yeah, that's the correct decision. They think that they're in the right. They think they're doing the right thing. And the old dinosaurs are the people that aren't receiving that message and want that message being taught and told to their kids.
I don't know it for a fact. I just want to say something real quick. I don't know it for a fact. Pretty sure Chris Evans does not have kids. And we know that Snoop Dogg does. Sorry, DA.
Well, no, I was just going to say, take it back to one of the first, I guess, controversial, I don't know, I don't even recall it, but the same-sex kiss, or not same-sex kiss, the first interracial kiss on Star Trek. Right. Everybody, that's what they're like, that's what they're all looking at. They're all looking at that kind of moment and saying, we need to get that type of a moment into a kid's movie so that it'll become normal. Everybody will talk about it. We'll get past it and we'll move on. And that's what they're thinking about. We just have to normalize lesbian mothers. That was the goal of whoever wrote Lightyear. Let's normalize lesbian mothers, just like you normalized the interracial kiss and everybody was good. So I think that's where their thought process is, but the problem is you're baking into a kid's movie sexuality. Okay.
Right.
And
of any kind.
Right.
Exactly. Sexuality, I don't think of any kind belongs. Now you have to allow children to, their innocence should be protected. There's no reason. Look, when you watch Bambi and Bambi's mother dies, spoiler alert, that's traumatic for a kid. Now, dealing with death is something that every human being will deal with. So I think that's fair game because people are always going to lose their grandparents or whatever. And but dealing with sexuality is not something necessarily, or alternative sexuality, according to the numbers. Most people are not going to have to experience those things. So why do you have to put that messaging in to children's programming? Why not let them stay innocent and grow up and experience sexuality at 12 when they see cruising?
I agree with that. No, Rob, I agree with that up to a certain point. I think you're right. Sexuality should not be there. But here's the thing. And I know a lot of people don't want to say this because it's wrong to say, but the default setting of humanity is heterosexuality.
Yeah.
That is the default setting, right? So when you have a family movie, there needs to be a family. There needs to be a mom and a dad, and a mom and dad need to love each other, right? So there is some aspect of that, but that's the normal, I know people hate that word. That's the normal way of things.
Typical,
so the kids do need to see that part of it.
But it is a double standard. I have having just had this debate with a gay man. Yeah, I know you guys, because the argument will be, oh, but you didn't have a problem with Jasmine and Aladdin having a hetero, right? Or Lion King. But that's because what Dante just said.
Right.
Typically, people are born heterosexual. That doesn't mean anything else. It just means that that's what it is. And that is the broadest base you are appealing to.
Well, and the same is true of any hot button issue. Like, you're not seeing kids taking drugs in Disney movies either. And that's something like I remember we would watch after school specials growing up, and they would deal with these shocking issues in a certain context. Like today, someone's abusing diet pills or something like that. And these were directed at children, but they were directed at children knowing that we're going to deal with an issue.
Saved by the Bell. Jessie Spano. She had the caffeine pills.
Exactly.
Remember?
So you knew that was going on. And look, I'm no prude. I'll watch any kind of sex, gay, straight. I don't care. I love it all. But when I was a child, I wouldn't have wanted. It would have confused me, and it would have been something that I don't think we can. Every kid doesn't need to know every single thing that's going to happen in the adult world. Let them be kids for a while.
And that's the problem when you start bringing in people that want to normalize things because that's their lifestyle. And
Right.
they want everybody to agree with their lifestyle. So they want to normalize it at the youngest age possible. So when those kids grow up, they're going to be as screwed up as they were. Maybe not screwed up, but in any case, they want everything that is in their bubble, in their world, to just be perfectly fine. And even sex, even having a conversation, Snoop's conversation about, hey, how did these two ladies have a kid? You know, Grandpa Snoop, Snoop, can you explain that to me right now in the middle of a movie? And he's like, I wasn't ready for this. Parents want to walk into movies, sit down with their kids. Lightyear should be cross-generational. It should be grandparents all the way down to grandchildren and everybody in between going to enjoy a movie together as a family. And we don't need messages. We don't need agendas. We don't need any of the not-so-secret gay nonsense going on. We just want to watch a movie. That stuff, like you were saying, Dante, you had your Touchstone. You had, what was the other ones? There were so many different labels that Disney had back then.
There were a lot of different little studios that Disney
Fox
owned.
Searchlight. They could do it right now.
All that. Yeah, perfect. But you don't have to put it in Pixar where, you know, it's like Toy Story and Finding Nemo. Like, that's what we're used to.
But that's the best version of what that side wants. Sorry, is they view it as like the right side of history shit. And like, it should be fine to have it, but it's just until 50% of people are born gay, it's not going to be that way. It's still going to be a conversation. It's still going to be at least some form of a social stigma where it just can't be equal and everything because it's not equal.
Right. And I don't understand why we don't understand that as a culture. That like
we do. That's why the Snoop reaction is so visceral, because we all understood exactly where Snoop was coming from with it, which is what we've been talking about over the last 3 to 4 to 5 years, ever since Lightyear came out. That was like the first year I started my channel, and that was one of the first things I talked about. I'm like, this is ridiculous. Why do we have to go through this? You know, as parents, it's ridiculous. And that's why.
That's why there's ratings. We have a rating system for a reason. You know, there's certain things in a G-rated movie that you just don't address. There's not even bad language in G-rated films. Right. I mean, and it's weird. I think it's weird that our culture, that look, I am grateful that we live in a society where marginalized people have a voice. I think it's very important that everybody has their voice, but also, you know, you don't get to shout from the rooftops to every child that you want, because children, we should protect the sanctity of what it means to be a child and let children discover these things on their own. You know, growing up foisting these things on children isn't fair to them.
And you know, when we were younger too, it's not like we were shielded from all this, right? I mean, we had guys who were very androgynous. Like even David Bowie had his androgynous stage, right?
Sure.
And we had Boy George, and even the ones that, you know, presented, you know, not gay. We kind of knew they were gay. So
sissies. You had sissies.
Yeah, we always knew. You know, we had guys like Paul Lynn and all these people where we knew that these people were gay. Okay.
Yes.
I mean, we didn't have a word for it, but we knew they were a little sweet. If you know what I mean.
Word for it. So, you just can't say it.
So it's always been around, but it was just never like so much in our face that we had to like make.
And it wasn't in the kids' content.
It wasn't in children's programming.
It wasn't in the
it wasn't in children's programming back then. You discover them later in life, and by then you're kind of, you know, a little bit more. You don't have. I don't want to say you don't have the mind of a child, but you have a little bit more experience to understand that, like, oh, they're a little fruity, and that's it. Like no more than that.
Zesty.
And you don't know the
more feminine, you know.
But you learn,
and it wasn't in children's programming.
You learn it in gradations. Like I understood like I knew I had school. I had in high school or junior high, I knew I had like gay teachers, but I hadn't exactly run the mechanics of all that through my mind. You know, it wasn't.
But you and I grew up in an era where teachers kept their personal life completely private, and if you ever saw them in public at like the grocery store, it was the weirdest.
It was the weirdest thing ever
to see a teacher be a normal person. But also, you know, there were likely gay characters in fiction that were just not out.
C-3PO.
Dr. Smith on Lost in Space. Who will, my dear boy? I mean, come on.
Well, now you made it creepy. It's
he wants to hang out with young Will.
I have a gay uncle that I talk about on stream, and when I was a kid, he was always just happy, and he loved Disney, and he would sing show tunes and things like that. And then one day, I was like 11 or 12. My mom was like, "Yeah, he's gay." I was like, Oh, that tracks.
This is why Alan and I have talked about this. Disney needs to go full gay. Start a separate label. Call it Disney Sparkle.
Oh, no.
Call it Disney Sparkle.
Yes, 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 yes.
And just make gay content for gay kids. Scale the budgets for the market. See how well it does. And then keep the other stuff, as normal. But
I'm not gay. It's not gay. We're California straight. All right. That means we're very confident in our sexuality.
Right.
We don't mind the finer things, but we like booba.
if there's a market for it, then make it. But make it budget-wise for what that market is. So we have a lot of other news stories here. Let's get to them. Ari Aster. I don't know if you saw. Anyone see Eddington? Did anyone see it?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a whole conversation.
Yeah.
I like Ari Aster. Not everything's a home run, okay, but he has a lot of thoughts, and I prefer to swing for the fences, fail, than not try. But here he is about AI. It's kind of a long rant, worth hearing and worth discussing on the other end. I may pause it here. It's kind of long, but let's take a look at this. Oh, and yet again, I got to turn it up. Turn it up. Here we go.
The state of things is like so alarming right now. And I also just see AI as something that will accelerate everything.
I'm curious what you think as a filmmaker, what you think the role of AI is in filmmaking today. Do you use AI at all? When is it?
I think that guy's gay. But anyway, just an aside. Just a little aside.
Useful. When do you think it's inappropriate? How are you thinking about AI?
I think that AI in almost every sector is like just too big to fail. And so it's coming. I've been resistant to it and am, taking as long as I can before having to really employ it. But, it's this thing where I spent my life learning how to be an image maker. And for me, I have memories of going to films and being in awe of what I was seeing. And that's what drove me, in wanting to be a filmmaker. And I feel like I'm seeing just awe being just disappearing, especially as like these images can just be, made in an instant. And I found the AI generated imagery when it first started appearing to be very interesting and startling and frightening because, it was essentially hallucinating. And the images were like depraved and insane. And it's like, oh, this is what you think of us. Like, it's amazing. And scary. And now it's become so much more uncanny to me because it's not uncanny anymore. It looks real. And that's really dangerous. This is the end of video, audio evidence. We're at the advent of like a new kind of like fraud that is very hard to discredit, but at the same time, we already are living in an age of like total distrust, and this is about to get so much worse. So, I in some ways I think, like the best thing to do right now is find a way to adapt because it's coming, but I didn't ask for it. Like, who, what, did you? Like, I don't know, like who, even the people who are ushering it in, like, they're kind of cleaning their hands by saying like, look, we warned you. We're telling you, like, this could end the world. Like, it's going to take away your jobs. Like, don't say we didn't tell you. The state of things is like so alarming right now. And I also just see AI as something that will accelerate everything. It's going to automate things further and make automation much faster and make it so ultimately, like, I wish we would just find like a path that didn't scare the shit out of me before AI, like, became applied to everything.
So there you go. Thoughts on what he's said. I know AI comes up in our conversations here on the regular. What do you guys think? I mean,
go ahead.
Please, no, please.
Well, I was at a screening yesterday. I was talking to a friend of mine. He's a director friend of mine. He's made a lot of, low budget horror and stuff. And he's making a documentary about Bruce Dern. He's interviewed Bruce Dern. He's talked with him for hours and hours and hours. And he's going to do a lot of really interesting, he's going to add animation and he actually had a sculptor do large-scale caricatures of both Alfred Hitchcock and Bruce Dern, so he could then use AI and animate those sculptures to talk. And he's worried. He was telling me that he was really worried about how people are going to perceive the movie. He's like, look, I could probably just have had AI generate Bruce Dern and generate Hitchcock and made them do whatever I want, and there would be no artists involved. But it was really important to him to have these sculptures made by a real artist, and then he could animate those later. And he was really worried about how he's employing AI, but on the other hand, he's able to do things he couldn't possibly have done a year ago. That AI has made this material. He can do these really elaborate animated sequences to tell when Bruce Dern is telling a story, because there's no B-roll there, that he can use these really cool. He was showing me this stuff that was really cool, and I'm like, wow, man, I really want to see that. But he was worried about how he's going to be perceived by the audience when they know he's employed AI to do all this. So it was really important to him to have an artistic component that was human generated within the animation, within these sequences that he was doing. And I thought that was really interesting. And I said, well, when you put that out, you can show these beautiful sculptures that were made and maybe do a behind the scenes piece about how you created all this, because it seems to me that you're using AI to do something in the correct, proper way, that you are employing real human beings, but you're also using the benefits of AI. And I thought what he was doing was fucking fantastic.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, we used a form of AI on Attack of the Dock we used AI upscaling of like G4 videos that were 480, right?
Yeah.
We made them look better. Okay. That's the only AI that was used on that documentary, but I know the filmmaker you're talking about, Sean Decker. I saw your Instagram post.
Oh yeah, he wasn't the filmker, but I went to his screening. This is where I was talking to that filmmaker. At Sean.
Yeah.
Sean's film was really cool.
I was invited. Couldn't go, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, I think for indies, it's going to be tough because there is a stigma, but do you want to like make your movie look like it's much bigger budget? It has more value? Or like, what is an ethical use of AI? Do you own the data sets? So with the G4 documentary I did, like, okay, it didn't own the video per se, but we wanted to make it look as good as it could. So at least 1080 from 480, right? So it's not unwatchable. So what is the ethical? I think that's a question. And I think Ari Aster has no answers. I don't think we do, but there are people that go hard negative against, like Justine Bateman. She doesn't want any AI at all. She has a whole film festival that we're a sponsor of where it's anti-AI, no AI used in the making of films. How long will that last? For indies, it's too much of a temptation. There's a movie out now called Primitive War. Primitive War is better than Jurassic World Rebirth. I recommend everyone go see it. It's an R-rated Jurassic Park movie. It's freaking phenomenal. DA, you saw it.
Yep. Great movie.
Great.
Loved it. Loved it.
So much fun. So much fun. I don't know if AI was used, but I do know the director is meeting at Universal right now to meet with Universal about maybe other projects. Who knows? He's getting attention. But what is the ethical? I think this is all being sussed out. Everybody has their extreme. No, I'm just going hard, like Christopher Moonlight, who writes for us, makes AI films. There's, of course, a Damon Packard, who
he's doing incredible stuff.
His stuff is incredible. Although we had one of our videos taken down from YouTube that had Damon's stuff in it. So there's.
Did he strike your channel?
No, he didn't. It was YouTube itself. I don't want to get sidetracked, but all I'm saying is, how are we going to answer this? I feel like the industry needs a think tank, a people that know, because whenever I see that Congress have hearings and they talk about anything tech, they sound like complete morons.
Yeah.
They don't know. It's like trying to talk to my mom about how to attach a photo to an email. It's a conversation. That's what it's like talking to people in power about tech. They don't know anything. So how will this be addressed?
Look, I like Justine a lot, but I think it's time for her and people, who are on, her side on this. It's time to wave the white flag here, man. Look, you can't fight the beast. We're here, right? Like it's time to get on board. It's time to get on board with Skynet or get off the train. We can't fight it anymore, right? AI is never leaving us. It's like the internet, right? It's like saying get rid of the internet, right? It's never going to happen. So. Yeah. I'm not saying everything needs to be made with AI, like as far as cinematically, but I think it's time to start integrating, right? It's time to start some integration here. I'm not saying, make everything AI. I'm saying just take some things that work with AI, apply it to your movie, because guess what? Everyone else is going to do it.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone else is going to do it. Like, don't even fool yourself here. There is no artistic integrity here. People are going to use this tool that is, for the most part, pretty cheap to use, right? They are going to use this to make their movies better. So if you don't do the same thing, you're going to be left in the dust.
Well, I mean, like you just said, if you are an independent filmmaker and you have $100,000 to make your space epic, and you build yourself a set a spaceship set that your actors can interact on, but you don't have enough money to do special effects. If you use AI and you generate these incredible exterior shots of spacecraft orbiting planets or in battles or wherever the hell they are, and they're completely AI generated, but you still are shooting on this live action set with live action with actors, is that a bad thing? If the movie is good and you don't have, filmmakers have been availing themselves, especially low budget filmmakers. It's like when you got stock footage, you didn't shoot the stock footage, you bought it from someplace, or maybe you didn't buy it at all, but you used stock footage, or what you did, Chris. That stock footage, isn't that the same thing? AI is just generating that footage for you.
Right. Making it look better, sharper.
Yeah. Or if you can generate these amazing shots of spaceships battling and you don't have to build models and you don't have to use a computer, is that a bad thing?
Right. And how is it different from CGI? You're right. Like, how is it different than using Photoshop actually to do effects? We got a couple more news stories and we'll get to Soups at the end of the show. Maybe do a shorter show today, but ex-Comedy Central chief on Paramount's future. You need to blow it up. I know we have notes for this story. Badger, if you would, I'll bring it up here. Here you go.
Comedy Central chief on Paramount's future. What were you going to
say? No, just go right ahead.
Doug Herzog, former Viacom executive, believes the newly merged Paramount Skydance will undergo major changes within the next 2 years. I would believe that 24 months from now, when we take a look at Paramount, it will not closely resemble what it is today, he said on the TV of Tomorrow podcast. He argued that legacy media companies must blow it up and take some chances, emphasizing that survival is not mandatory in today's rapidly changing entertainment landscape. Herzog cited new Paramount CEO David Ellison as a potential game changer, pointing to his deep pockets and unique balance of tech and creative experience. He's been running his own studio now for quite some time. The shift is urgent. Herzog explained, as the traditional dual revenue model of cable, distribution, and advertising has cratered due to cord cutting, leaving streaming as the primary battleground, the model's kind of broken, he said bluntly. Despite industry speculation, Paramount has so far resisted spinning off its cable networks, choosing instead to redefine them while reaffirming its commitment to BET. Herzog's reflections also include a look back at South Park, which he called the house on which Comedy Central was built. He credited its unlikely success in 1997 to the freedom afforded by Comedy Central's joint venture structure. It was so dangerous, it was so over the top, but I was largely left on my own. Herzog's comments reflect both optimism for Paramount's reinvention under Ellison and a clear-eyed acknowledgement that old models won't sustain legacy media in a tech-dominated era. You need a different idea.
Okay. So thoughts. I believe comedy itself needs to be blown up for sure. I was disappointed Naked Gun underperformed, in my opinion, based on the quality. It wasn't a disaster. Thought it was kind of fun, actually. But what do you guys think?
Anyone?
Well, I mean, I do think in a sense, like you look at something like South Park, and it was groundbreaking, and he did build up Comedy Central, and it look 27 years later, 27 seasons later, we're still watching it, and it's still at the top of its game in terms of being very, on the cutting edge of just about everything. And I think that we need to shake up the status quo of how things are working, because in the face of AI, I mean, comedy isn't going to go away. You're going to still have to have people writing. I mean, will AI be able to even write good comedy? So we're going to need people like comedians to shake up these things and keep the status quo blown up. You have to blow it up that's what comedy is best at. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how that's going to work, but I think that it's never a bad thing when you have comedians testing the boundaries of what's going on in society.
Yeah.
Well, and also I think it's only now like comedians are finally starting to feel safer to test again, right? Because for the longest time, over the past 5 years, comedians were being shamed. They were being, ran out of comedy clubs. They were being attacked.
You still see it
comedy
today.
clubs.
Yeah.
So, it wasn't a good time for comedy, man. Like we weren't allowed to talk about everybody. We had to exclude certain special people that we couldn't talk about. So maybe now it has a chance again. I don't know.
I would like to see not only comedy come back, but multiple comedy genres, and stop giving an F what people think. There can be 300 people being negative on Twitter. There are 3,000 that don't speak their mind because they don't care. They're not endlessly online. So I don't know. Start maybe looking at what performs in the market, not social media. One of the things, this is maybe like a old man
really
yells.
Quickly, you can't be,
please.
And to your point, Chris, you can't be afraid to be offensive, man. I've been watching old reruns, man, of Sanford and Son, and the shit that they said that they were saying back then.
Yep.
I forgot how buck wild that show was, man. Like they were saying all kind of crazy shit, man. Like I can't repeat it because I think YouTube will censor me, but or strike the show. But they were saying some crazy stuff. So
crazy.
I mean, you can't be afraid to like go back to that style of just like, hey, everybody's on the table.
And I think also as a culture, we need to uphold comedians' right to say what they say at the risk of being offended, instead of being offended. Instead of being offended, I would much rather you say what you need to say. It's the loudest voice that gets the attention. That's the problem with comedy, is we listen to the loudest voices rather than just take a stand for freedom of speech, freedom of expression. Let people talk and say that I would protect your freedom to say what you said over my right of being offended.
And when you said old rerun, Dante, I thought you meant rerun from What's Happening. A great show and a great character.
Yes, AI couldn't have written that,
baby.
A great character. So, okay, Doctor Who, I have not watched since the Matt Smith years. Apparently, it's gone on with several different doctors. But this article goes into detail on why the casting of Ncuti Gatwa and Jodie Whittaker was not some bold step into the culture wars. Badger, if you would, the story from the Radio Times. Radio Times.
Doctor Who producer Jane Tranter has defended the show's progressive casting and storytelling, calling it part of the series' DNA rather than a cultural provocation. Speaking to In Touch magazine, she praised Russell T Davies' writing, saying, "I like the fact that Doctor Who can touch on sensitive issues and do it in an entertaining and engaging way, but that's how Russell T Davies writes." Tranter rejected the idea that casting Jodie Whittaker as the first female doctor, who we will lovingly call Dr. Karen, and Ncuti Gatwa as the first full-time Black doctor was controversial. "I also don't see the casting as some bold step in the culture wars. It's simply as it should be. It's normal." The long-running sci-fi series has faced accusations of being woke in recent years, But Davies himself has dismissed the criticism. In a past interview with RadioTimes.com, he explained that his approach isn't about ticking representation boxes, but simply reflecting lived reality. I kind of am rather bemused when people say you're representing things now, because I think that's just people I live with and know and love. Ultimately, both Tranter and Davies frame the inclusivity of modern Doctor Who, not as a political statement, but as a natural extension of the show's world building and its core ethos of reflecting humanity in all of its diversity.
I mean, I'll just say this. I have no problem with a black Doctor Who. Who cares? You know, I think that Ncuti Gatwa was miscast. He's a very different personality-wise from Doctor Who, or even a female Doctor Who. Their characterizations just didn't feel like the Doctor to me. And
I think
every clip I've seen is not. I don't know. I just
my
think
Asian
the
doctor.
Right. I think the thing
why not
about
Asian
Ncuti,
Doctor?
the thing about Ncuti Gatwa is it wasn't that here's a new actor playing the Doctor. It was the identity of the actor playing the Doctor.
Right.
It was about being the gay Doctor versus just being the Doctor
and putting down the
I
straight white male.
Yeah, and I think that I didn't watch these things. I saw one episode of Ncuti Gatwa and said the show's too gay for me. But even with Jodie, I think it was not about Jodie the actor being the Doctor. It was about being the first woman Doctor, and so it all became about the identity, which is a bad and horrible way of telling stories when you can't create a well-defined character, but the only thing you can rely on is their identity. Are they black? Are they gay? Are they a woman or whatever? And that's how that's how we're writing stories nowadays.
Well, even when she was in that scene with Ncuti Gatwa's doctor in one of the final episodes, she had a little cameo and he was just like, "Oh, you're one of the doctors." She's like, "I'm the best doctor." Like she claimed that as the best doctor because she's a woman. But I think that like Russell T Davies doesn't write. It's not that he wants to write stories about like everyone's world. It's his worldview. It's a very narrow worldview. He's writing about his own life. As a doctor, it's all his worldview. Like that's it. That's why nobody can watch it and actually have a good time or relate to really anything, because his writing isn't that of like a human experience. It's his worldview, it's his experiences, and that's pretty much it. So when you have that really narrow point of view, you're not going to have a show that's relatable to millions of people.
Well, as one of the viewers pointed out, the Timeless Children went back and retconned the entire origins of Doctor Who. And in my mind, they do this on Star Trek nowadays all the time. They retcon. And when you're doing that, it feels, first of all, it just feels really disingenuous from a viewing standpoint, because this is settled case law. It shouldn't be that we're going back and going back to the origins of something with these new creators, because they didn't create it in the first place, and they come in and then they retcon it. And you're like, that's not true. What you're doing isn't true. You can say, "Oh, well, we can come in and change anything we want." I'm like, no, you can't. You shouldn't do that, because one, it doesn't make sense. Two, it's something you've done because you thought you could get away with it. You're not serving the story that you're telling. And three, the reason you did it in the first place doesn't even it's not organic to the show you're working on. It's you're once again inserting your own activist bent into something that shouldn't have it. And I think that's what people get mad about.
Robert's point is excellent. I'm glad he brought up Star Trek, because that's what I was going to say. The thing that they all have in common, and even the Rings of Power guys, is they all care more about their ideology and being on that right side of history and making everything into that mythical, perfect world that they want. Russell T Davies has gone on record saying, if you're not writing about gay rights in 2025, then what are you even doing? And so that takes the forefront of all of his decision. And Kurtzman hasn't been doing, New Trek is his, because that's the battlefield upon which they put their cross. And unfortunately, the franchise suffers because of it.
Here's
story
the
and
thing,
characters. They don't like that.
What bothers me is I don't think these writers and these creatives have a vested interest in the success of the shows they're working on.
They don't. Oh, no, of course
you know, it's they just go in, they create havoc, they wreak havoc, destroy everything, and then they walk away with a salary, leaving devastation in their wake.
They'll go to the next franchise.
Yeah, I mean, look
And do it
at
again.
Cracker Barrel. Look at you know, here's a CEO who probably has no real financial investment in this company. And she just goes in and just starts making wholesale changes, and then she'll walk away a disgrace, and then leaving a entire franchise destroyed in her wake. And I'm starting to get tired of it.
Never let temporary people make permanent decisions.
Yeah, I mean, there was a time where people cared about the franchises they were on, the TV shows they were on, and that its success meant that they succeeded. And I just don't get that sense anymore.
It's because, like, you know, when actors used to be cast, or I feel like people are still doing it now, where I'm the first to be whatever. I'm the first black dwarf that's going to be in Rings of Power. I'm the first, you know, gay something to be in Star Trek, something or other. They're always like the first. Well, now it's like it's owners of businesses and directors of movies that want to leave their mark on something that, like, they really had no interest in or no investment in or didn't help bring up from the very beginning, but they can leave their mark on it and be like, well, you know what, I was the first to start this conversation, I'm going to leave my mark. And it doesn't matter how far they drag it down. That is their goal. Their goal is to leave a mark on that franchise and say, I did that, I did something, I was on the right side of history during my tenure at wherever, and I left my mark there. You know, so that way they can be like, oh, I have this pride in doing that, because they really do think that they're on the right side of history and they're doing something really huge. Even though people might not agree with them, they will eventually. And I wanted to make sure that I left my mark there.
Yeah. Also, it's complete BS that this wasn't about the culture war. It obviously was. Then Russell T Davies came back for one reason and one reason only, and that was to stick it to the chuds. That was it. He didn't care about Doctor Who anymore. He was done with Doctor Who. And you know, for me, you know, it's crazy that I am a big Doctor Who fan. You know, one of my first and favorite doctors was Colin Baker, and you know, and I've been a casual fan, but I say I'm more hardcore than most people. For me, Doctor Who it had the same format as a Star Trek, where they were able to tell these stories that affected, you know, what's going on in society, but in a way that made you think, in a way that didn't preach to you. You know, you had the doctor himself who solved everything by using his head, right? And they strayed so far from that, man. And look, I'm not going to blame everything on Jodie Whittaker, because she's a decent actress, and I think she kind of got a little bit of a raw deal. You know, it wasn't her fault that the writing sucked, but she was the test subject in all this, right? Because I remember right after Peter Capaldi, I was ready to check out. I was like, okay, I think we're good here. So, but I gave Jodie her first season, and this was basically at the beginning, near the very beginning of quote unquote woke, right? Like when woke shit really started taking over. It was during her time. And I just remember all the propaganda. I remember all the shaming of Doctor Who fans, and I'm talking like hardcore Doctor Who fans. And the weird thing I don't get is, again, when you're a company who's you have this look. When it comes to fan bases, when it comes to fandom, when it comes to sci-fi, when it comes to comic books, whatever it may be, Generation X is the cutoff. You know, like maybe some later millennials, but for the most part, we're the cutoff. We are your prime demographic. We really are when it comes to all this stuff, right? Because the Gen Zers don't care. They don't care, and a lot of millennials don't care. So we are actually your main core audience here. So
it's kind of wild, Dante. You know, it's kind of wild, like how, like you just said, how disrespectful they are to the fans that brought this franchise all the way up from wherever it was. Like Doctor Who, I've never watched Doctor Who. I'm not a Doctor Who guy, but I respect the fandom because I'm a fan of things myself. Obviously, Star Wars, DC, Marvel, etc. And they don't have any respect.
They have zero respect for
who
us,
got you here.
Again, the people
who built this franchise.
Like they have disdain for us.
Yeah, they have disdain. But here's the thing.
They hate their audience. It's so crazy. You said it yourself. Russell T. Davies came back to do what? Stick it to the chuds.
That was it. That's his only reason for coming back.
To me, man. That's crazy.
Jessica Gao, She-Hulk, the whole point of the script was that we were the bad guys at the like.
Right,
They didn't even try to
yeah.
hide it.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Dude, and it wasn't ashamed to say it. Came right out as
Right.
bold as brass and said, "Oh yeah, we did this to the trolls or whatever." I forgot the little video. Everybody remembers it, and it was like, "You got to be kidding me, man!" Marvel, this is who you hired to
I
But,
think
but the, cra- but the
She-Hulk?
crazy, the crazy
And they
thing
love
is though,
that.
they don't have the fan base to replace us, right? So what are they
Yeah.
doing?
remember
They should
comic
be
book
trying to build out the fan base and make us hand down these. Look, I say it all the time. I raised my kids on the MCU, and now my kids could care less because the MCU is falling off. They've done so much work and so much damage to that brand that 3 boys who have been raised up and they were collecting comics, they was reading Deadpool and all of that. By the time they get into their 20s, they could care less because Marvel has absolutely destroyed that brand because they hate their audience. And it doesn't make any damn sense to me at all. They should be trying to add, like you said, once we are gone, who's coming back to read Marvel comics? Who's coming back to watch Star Wars? Who's coming back to watch Star Trek?
Well, that's
Nobody.
one of the things that they're trying to do. Their idea is that, oh, we're going to go capture this new audience by appealing to, kids now are much more aware of, like, they're full of anxiety, right? So let's go do an anxiety-based episode of Star Trek. So the kids will come back and they'll get it. But what they don't realize is the whole world, it's not just the shows, it's the people that are watching them that have changed. And you can't alter, the shows are not going to suddenly get an audience that isn't interested. Audiences today, like you said, your kids today are not interested in the things that in the way we were interested in them as when we were coming up, and they've got their own things. They've got K-pop demon hunters. They've got things that appeal to them. And I'll tell you something, there is the unique nature of, say, manga and anime. It's authentic. And the audiences for those things know that. And the people that have embraced K-pop demon hunters know that that's something of their time. It belongs to them. It doesn't belong to me.
I've been saying
And
this,
it belongs. And so audiences want different things. Kids today aren't interested in watching Star Trek.
That's the issue, by the way, what you just said, it belongs to them. That's where the resentment comes from. So a lot of these creatives are like the video game reviewers that want to be regular news people, but they have to be a gaming journalist instead. And so they kind of resent that because that's not what they want to do. A lot of these creatives want their own original shit. They want their stories, but no one cares about their stories because everything that's hot right now is the shit that they used to make fun of. And the fans are the people that they don't like. So they resent the people, they resent the projects, and they just find a way to capture it, to do their own stuff. And then you've just seen it time and time again. The skin of something
it's really
beloved.
exciting to see young people embrace a lot like Eastern or
it's awesome.
It's incredible. And it's like manga and anime was niche for us. We didn't have, like, there was a few animated shows, like I love Gundam and I love Space Battleship Yamato.
Battle of the Planets.
Yeah, nobody watches that
Battle
shit
of the
today.
Planets.
The stuff. I mean, I just watched a I think it's called a basketball anime that was really good. And I never would have bought it, but it's coming to America now because younger audiences are embracing these things. And we didn't break through the anime barrier when we were coming up. Gen Z did that, and it's amazing.
And don't forget Legend of the Overfiend.
Oh well, Yuratsuki Doji, Wandering Kid.
But no, Rob, you made a point that I made for several years, is that this is the problem in the West is that they have gone back and remade and rebooted and gave everything a new sequel, and they haven't made new things.
Nope.
And that's the biggest issue. And now what do you have? Anime, manga, K-pop demon hunters, Korean K-pop, the music itself. China is now jumping into the anime game as well. And the kids, that's what they're watching. That's what Gen Z is watching. They have checked out from the West. Western entertainment is dead to them.
Yep.
And that's sad for me because, again, I want the West to look, as much anime stuff as you see behind me, and I love it. I still want the West to live, but it seems like the culture is shifting. Western entertainment is dead. Eastern entertainment is taken off. And I don't know what's going to happen. What are these Hollywood studios and all these guys going to do? Are they just going to go and buy anime properties and adapt those because that's where the eyeballs are, and that's what everybody's watching. So that's what we're going to do instead of creating new things. Bella Ramsey.
Well,
the
and
hell?
there you go. Just to
Yeah,
break
that's
up
how
the
we
conversation.
follow up that conversation.
Sloth has extra genes.
That's hilarious.
Whoever said Bella Ramsey is awful, man. That's crazy.
Oh, that's too damn
What? It's
All
gonna be
right.
Spider-Man.
Hey, before we get to Soups and wrap up the show real quick, I will be at Dragon Con this weekend, Thursday through Sunday. I'm doing 7 panels, a
Jesus.
world record. And I don't think I'll be at LA Comic-Con. Even though I've emailed them, I think they rejected everything. This is news
Wow.
to you, Alan, but I don't think I'm going to LA Comic-Con.
Wow.
None of my panels were accepted, but 7 panels at Dragon Con this weekend. I posted this on social media or on Film Thread social media. So check out, you can't even read it. It's so small there, but
That is crazy work, man. Like we packed rooms. How are we not invited?
Dude, Dante,
How are we
I
not
pitched them.
invited? Come
I
on.
emailed the woman
We
who
packed
owns
rooms,
it.
man.
I don't think LA Comic-Con likes us. That's all I'll say. I don't think they like us. In particular, someone doesn't like me. So it is what it is. It is what it is, folks.
I know.
So let's go to Soups. We'll start from the top
I
here.
was gonna say, well, make Marvel mail again.
No.
Jack 69 for 99 or 40. Mark my word, Demon Slayer movie will earn 1 billion.
Dude.
Hope it does.
The Runaway Vagabond for 10. Saw K-pop Demon Hunters 6 times. And this past weekend for the sing-along. See you this weekend at Dragon Con. P.S. This is Vagabundo Devon. Shut up, Vaughn.
Devon, we're hanging out. We're hanging out. Devon and I have hung out the last couple years. It's great. He's awesome.
Super Franda Man for $5.99. Chris, we're going up, up, up. It's our moment. Oh, we're going up, up, up.
Gotta sing it.
Gonna be golden. Gonna be go up. Come on, get that dyed wig ready, Frank. Yeah.
I will do you a favor and not sing.
James Busher for 2. KPDH only 1.2 million less than Elio opening weekend. K-pop Demon. Yeah.
Do you believe that in fewer
1,700
theaters?
screens. Yeah.
In fewer
Fewer
theaters,
screens.
And only for 2 days.
Yeah.
Yep.
Grizzly Nightmare for $199. Badger, you should stream in your fursuit sometimes. It's too hot.
Yeah, why don't you?
It's too hot. Bebsta for 5. If Oscars added a 30-day theatrical qualification, would that help theaters or not really?
Not for the movies that usually get nominated, like Emilia Perez. I still have a bunch of Emilia Perez merch.
Yeah. I see Gary
I'll
asking
do a
happened.
giveaway. I'll do a giveaway for all the Emilia Perez stuff I have. I'm gonna give it away. Still in my space that I look like a hoarder.
You should throw it out during the panels.
There you go.
I'm not gonna bother.
Well, comment for 2. Afternoon, Chris Gore and panel. Miss me? Yeah.
We miss you.
Tony LV426 for $9.99. Did you hear about Sung Kang working on a drifting themed film titled Drifter?
I did not.
No, but Sun Kang can do no wrong in my book.
There you
go. Anthony Reget for 5. Reget. Dudes, for me, it was Once Bitten. Oh, right. Your first movie. Made you feel things. Embry Jeremiah, member for 16 months.
Wow, Once
Dr.
Bitten, that's a deep pull,
Dobson
man.
passed away Thursday, but wasn't his whole business about families and how they should behave and what they shouldn't do.
Yep.
Yeah.
I used to listen to him for years.
Legend. Dr. James Dobson.
CMB Jive for 5. Sick and tired of hearing the voices of marginalized people. It's boring and it's uninteresting.
I hate to say this, the CMB Jive has a point. Once you see one of these movies, because I have seen these kinds of films for years, and for the most part, if they're at Sundance, they're pretty good stories. They never made it about being against anyone, more like they were diverse storytelling. Now, when I hear that, it's a big turnoff because the movies that are getting made in that space are just not good movies. This person is right. I like more marginalized storytelling back in the early days of Sundance and other small festivals was exciting.
Yeah,
now it's become tired. It's become as cliched as the movies that they rant against. Anyways, Dante, we're gonna say something.
I was gonna say, yeah. I mean, to your point, Chris, like we have movies like My Own Private Idaho, like these kind of little movies where it hit on these topics, but there was a story being told. There was a whole ass story. Where now it's just like everything is about the topic. There is no story.
Yeah, it's just about being gay. It's a story about being gay. That's really is no story other than that.
Yeah, been there, done that.
Small chat member for 8 months. Only representation I'm proud of is Ian McKellen. Yeah. Stubble McShave for 100 Swedish krona. Loved Peacemaker, but they said it would set up the DCU. Of course, kids want to see it. The parent and child who saw Superman and wanted to see the continuation probably got an awkward 20-minute surprise. Yeah, an awkward surprise 20 minutes in. Yeah. Just cover that.
Yeah, I still haven't seen it. I do have HBO Max. I will watch it. Wednesday, we're doing our Peacemaker show. Alan, are you ready?
Not yet. But Wednesday. Yeah, I'll have seen it by then.
I'm
trying to get through this damn alien show, and I can't do it.
All I'm going to say about it is I don't know where James Gunn is going with all this. That's all I'm going to say.
I don't think he does either.
He's not doing it overall.
Scott Jonesy for 2. Can we try and be a bit more positivity, lads and lasses? No, we hate everything.
I was having a conversation with Nerd Cookies yesterday. She was not here today. We were talking about positivity and helpful critique. We have always critiqued everything in the nerd space. I remember when Michael Keaton was cast as Batman, every comic book store you go into, that was a whole conversation.
Mr. Mom.
Until we saw the suit, that kind of changed things. A picture of the suit was in Time magazine. That changed things. People always when Star Trek The Next Generation, can they redo it? Every conversation, we're nerds. We're good at
Heath Ledger, Brokeback Mountain. You're gonna have Brokeback Mountain
guy gonna be the Joker.
Yeah, and he's the best Joker.
He knocks
ever.
And then Jared Leto, Joker, when he. Well, okay, forget that.
There's a difference between critiquing and which it's what we do. We critique things, man. If something is good, we all say it's good. Like we're not, if something's bad is bad. We just call it what it is. At the same time, look, like what you like, man. Like. Here's the thing: if people knew like all the crazy shit I liked, they would think I was the worst critic in the world, man. I will stand 10 toes down on a movie some of y'all probably never seen before called Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Heart Club Band.
I love that movie.
Starring the Bee Gees, and it's one of my favorite movies. I will stand 10 toes down on that movie. It's awful, but I love it.
It is so bad, and I love it because
George
I love
Burns.
George Burns. I will stand on that movie, even though it's awful and I know it. You like what you like.
Oh my God, that's Dante. All. I don't even know where to see that movie. I was just thinking about that.
I own the DVD, but other than that,
I don't have it. Yeah, it's not on. I don't know.
I believe it's on Amazon Prime, but you got to pay for it. It's like $7.99 or $6.99 or something.
I'm gonna look for it, but it's so funny. That's what a weird movie to.
Oh, it's so weird. It's so ridiculous. Everybody's doing cocaine in that movie.
Oh hell yeah!
Shonen Kaiju for $4.99. Some people are going to be shocked how much the Demon Slayer movie will make in the U.S. Will beat Pokemon's opening weekend. The early screenings of the other ones all sold out. I'm sure it's going to be.
It's going to crush it. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, and of course we want to thank our mod, Lord Thoth. It's not Lord Thothy.
By the way, Gary is right in that comedy he's making right there.
Aerosmith Come Together is epic.
Oh, it's so good.
That movie is so it's bad and I love it. And I saw it in a theater. So I was a kid. I just went to the Dollar Theater. I saw it
I will always
several
defend
times.
that movie.
Yeah, it's bad and also awesome. Now I gotta see it. Hey, want to thank our mod, Lord Thoth, Atomic Lori, Glenn Nuccio, our producer. Plug your channel, and Alan will be back in a solo versus, maybe with Badger. I don't know yet. In a solo versus a week from today, because it's Labor Day. You guys have stuff to do. I assume barbecues or whatever. So Alan will be here next week. I'll be at Dragon Con. Right, Alan?
Right. It's all planned out. I'm so prepared for this thing. It'll be amazing.
Alan will be here. Alan will be here. All right. So, hey, we'll go around the horn. Please plug your channel.
Steph, My Nerdy Home on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. Come and hang out with me.
Robert Burnett from the Burnett Work over on YouTube. Come hang out with me.
Derek Anderson, the DA. Nightcaps Tuesdays and Thursday evenings. DA office on Sundays. Thanks for hanging out.
Dante, Verbal Riot. Follow me on YouTube, Rumble, and X.
Badgercast in 30 minutes. We're going to be talking about Superman finally passing 600 mil, the same as F1, and more information on that big blow up on the Avengers Doomsday set.
Well, who are the two people?
It was
Just
not
tell
Robert
us who
Downey Jr. It wasn't Robert, and it wasn't Ryan Reynolds. Let's put it that way.
Ooh.
That's two other actors.
I don't know. Actors get prickly. Whatever. It's if that's the news that movie is generating, it's kind of.
It was Patrick Stewart and Iman Vellani.
Egos on that set.
How told you, Alan?
All right. Alan will be back next week. Want to thank everybody for joining. I always look forward to this. Always fun to hang out with you guys. And Alan?
Let's get out of here. I think you're